Hello, YouTube viewers. Welcome to another edition of Jackson's Journal. My name is Matthew Jackson, and today I want to weigh in on the Gillette, the most recent commercial that was made by Gillette. There was a lot of hubbub about it in the news, and of course, Rush Limbaugh had his commentary on it. Ben Shapiro had his commentary on it. So finally, I took the time to go see the commercial and formulate my own opinions. And so I'm going to weigh in on this whole Gillette commercial thing. Typically, when a company produces a commercial, they usually talk about the distinctives of their product, the benefits, the features and benefits of their product. In this case, with Gillette, we're talking about shaving implements, razors or shaving instrument. In Gillette's case, they pride themselves in having several dozen razors in one shaving apparatus. And of course, they produce shaving cream and other products related to shaving. And of course, men are the target audience, obviously. I don't think Gillette produces any products for women. They might maybe help them shave their legs or something. I don't know, but mainly it's a male-dominated product and market that Gillette is going after. In this particular case, instead of talking about their product, why it's a good product and how it's different from their competition and why you should be buying their product as opposed to their competition's product, they chose to make a social statement. And they took a stand against, for lack of a better term, toxic masculinity. And they portrayed some men acting like jerks and being chauvinistic and saying, you don't want to be like that. And men should hold other men accountable for being a toxic male, sort of like that. And they used some different examples, like there'd be two guys, let's say, and there'd be this real attractive babe walk by, and the one guy would go, "Hey, baby, make a, be real, uncouth," and you'd have the other guy say, "Hey, don't do that," stuff like that. Or one CEO in a boardroom treating a woman condescendingly, stuff like that. They just show examples and how that shouldn't be done. Now, Gillette did say in the commercial that not all men are like that, so that's a good thing. I'll give them credit for not stereotyping all men for being that way. But certainly, it was a very social statement, and it really had nothing to do with their products. They were just telling, men shouldn't be acting like jerks. And the very last frame of the commercial, they showed three boys and said, because you're training these boys for the future. Now, there was one scene in particular where there were two boys were fighting, and then you had a bunch of guys lined up behind their barbecue grills, like, a dozen or so. And when they saw the two boys fighting, they all just shrugged it off, says, well, boys will be boys. And then you had one guy go break up the boys fighting and says, we don't behave like this, or something like that, and said we shouldn't do that. Now let me explain to you something, the difference between my generation and the generation of today. I was a boy in the 60s, and I remember one summer I went to the YMCA, and another summer I went to the Variety Boys Club. And I remember on both occasions, on both summers, it's two separate summers, but two separate events. In both cases, you had two boys that were fighting. This happened at the YMCA and the Boys Club. And usually there would be a male supervisor that would watch the kids. And usually he was an alpha male type. And I remember on both occasions, the male staff leader would break up the fight and tell his assistants, go to the storage room and get the boxing gloves. And then they would put the boxing gloves on the boys, have the boys put on the boxing gloves, and then he would say, okay, you guys want to fight? Go ahead. we're going to make it a fair fight, and you got to fight within the rules, and blah, blah, blah. And of course, the guy telling them this, the staff member overseeing this, would be the referee of the fight. So that way, if one kid got the best of the other, he would stop the fight before he got too seriously hurt. Okay. And that happened on both occasions. And I think that's really good, because boys are naturally rambunctious and aggressive. That's just the way boys are. So in some respects, yeah, boys will be boys, but reprimand them and say, now, boys, you shouldn't be fighting. Now shake hands and tell each other you're sorry. And come on, cut the crap. I mean, no. They let the boys fight, and then after the fight, then if there was any problem or conflict resolution to be done, then the guy would intervene. He says, okay, why are you two guys fighting? What happened? And then they would resolve it that way. But putting on boxing glove teaches kids discipline, fighting within the rules. So there's a lot of constructive benefit for them channeling their energy into a boxing match, a formal boxing match, as opposed to a street fight. So that's the way it was handled back when I was a kid, back in the 60s, and even in the 70s too. I remember a coach at my school did that. So it wasn't just at the boys club, but things have changed now. Now we're telling kids, well, you shouldn't fight at all. Okay, well, and maybe that's true, but you gotta use that energy and channel it in a good way. And I would say having those boys box it out formally with boxing gloves had more constructive benefit to that. So that was one thing about the Gillette commercial that I didn't really agree with. Now, women have often complained, and they've been complaining about this for decades. I mean, I've heard this back in the 60s, that men look upon women as sex objects and men objectify women. Well, that's been going on for a long time, okay? I think it's becoming worse in recent times. Look at our culture today. There are more single mothers now, more children born out of wedlock, more boys growing up in homes without paternal, without father supervision, without a father in the home. Because a father in the home, there's nobody that can teach a boy how to be a man better than a man. And so you have a lot of absentee fatherism that you didn't have decades ago, because the illegitimacy birth rate and single motherhood has increased. So you could reprimand the jerks of our society and say, yeah, don't be jerks, but it runs a lot deeper than that. I think abortion is a problem, is a root cause of this problem, because abortion objectifies women. It cheapens life. It cheapens the life that's inside the mother before she aborts her baby, but also cheapens the woman too, because it teaches men, hey, I don't have to be responsible for my actions. It lets them off the hook. It makes them scot-free and teaches them to be more irresponsible. Men are supposed to provide and protect for their women and their children. That's what they're supposed to do. Abortion teaches the opposite. It's also toxic masculinity when a male forces the female, whether it's his wife, girlfriend, or whatever, to get an abortion when she doesn't want one. That's toxic masculinity. We tend to overlook that. And the abortion rights activists, they don't talk about those women who don't want to have an abortion but are coerced into having one. So that's a problem. Then also toxic femininity when the woman wants an abortion and hires a hitman to kill her kid. So this is part of the problem too. Okay. Also, why don't Tampons or Kotex or these feminine companies that sell feminine products? You can put the shoe on the other foot and say, well, maybe they can produce a commercial that teaches women to respect their bodies and to respect the life that's inside their bodies and to choose wisely. Don't shack up with a jerk. Don't have sex with a jerk or a guy before you get married. Don't have babies out of wedlock. Wait till you get married to have sex. Wait until you get married to have children. Where is the commercials on that? I don't think you're ever going to see that. So, yeah, you want to take a crack at toxic masculinity. Yeah, should men be gentlemen and not be jerks? I agree. And who's to say? Right now it's too early to tell what kind of repercussions Gillette's going to get from this. I don't know if it's going to increase their sales because the whole point of a corporation is to make a profit. They're not supposed to be there to do social engineering. They're there to make a profit for the company. Now, honestly, I just don't see how that commercial is going to motivate more guys to buy more Gillette products. But I might be wrong. Maybe it will. Maybe more guys will like that commercial and go buy more Gillette products. You never know. I don't know. It's too early to tell. But anyway, that's my opinion on it. I just think it runs a lot deeper. The toxic masculinity and chauvinistic attitudes that you're getting and the way men are behaving these days. I think it runs a lot deeper than what the Gillette commercial showed you in the commercial. So thank you for watching, and feel free to subscribe to my channel, Jackson's Journal, and watch some of my other teaching videos. Until next time, God bless.